Look at any screen in front of you right now. A laptop, a phone, doesn't matter. 90% of what you are looking at is just text. But here's a strange part. Most designers can look at good design and bad design and feel the difference without even being able to explain why one works and other doesn't. So by the end of this video, you'll know exactly what separates the two, and you'll never look at a heading or body of a text the same way again. Let's get into it. So hey everyone, welcome to Design with Pooh, the channel where we break down design concepts in a simple practical way so you actually use them in real projects. This is video 1 of our brand new series where we go topic by topic through everything you need to know about typography. If that sounds useful, hit subscribe so you don't miss the rest of the series. Let's start with the very beginning. So, what actually is a typography? Typography is a design discipline of choosing and arranging text so that it's readable, usable, and ideally enjoyable to look at. It's not just picking a nice font, it's everything about how the text is styled, sized, spaced, and organized on the screen. And here's why it matters so much. More than 90% of the information we consume online is in the text form. So if your typography is off, you are not just making things look little worse, you are actually getting in the way of how people read, understand, and use your product. That's how much weight this one discipline carries. But before we get into how to use typography well, we need to speak the same language. So let's break down the actual anatomy of text, the term designer use every single day. Let's start with the two terms people mix up constantly. That is typeface and font. So a typeface is an overall family. Think like Helvetica, Georgia, or Times New Roman. Now here's a simple way to remember this. A typeface is made up of multiple fonts the same way an album is made up of individual tracks. The album is the typeface, the individual songs on it, those are your fonts. So a font is one specific style within the typeface. Let's say Georgia is your typeface, then Georgia Bold, Georgia Italics, and Georgia Regular are all fonts that live inside it. So here's the rule of thumb. You choose a typeface but you use a font. Okay, now let's zoom into something most designer never really slow down to look at, the actual anatomy of single letter. Every letter you see on a screen is built from a handful of consistent parts, and once you know them, you'll start noticing them everywhere. First is the baseline. This is the invisible line that every letter sits on. If you draw a straight line under any sentence right along the bottom of the letter, that's the baseline. Almost every other measurement in your typeface is based off this one reference point. From that baseline, we measure upward in two ways. Cap height is the height of your uppercase letter, how tall a T stands above the baseline. X height is shorter. It's the height of your lowercase letter, like the lowercase x. And this one actually matters a lot more than people think. If a font has an unusual large or small x height, it can throw off the visual balance of your entire interface, sometimes even breaking the layout. Two fonts can be exactly same point size and still feel completely different in size on a screen purely because of x height. Now some letters go beyond these two height. An ascender is the part of the letter that stretch up past the x height. Think of the tall vertical stroke of a lowercase l or h. A descender is the opposite. It's the part that dips below the baseline. Think like a tail on a lowercase y or g. Next, let's talk about one of the most visually obvious distinction in typography, serif versus sans serif. Serif font has a small feet at its end of the stroke. Times New Roman is a classical example. And these are not just decorative. Serif actually helps guide the reader eye from one character to the next. which is the part of why books and long form print still lean on serif fonts. Sans serif fonts strip all the way away. No feet, no extra stroke, just the clean shape of the letter. And because of how text renders on lower resolution screens, sans serif fonts have traditionally been the safer, more reliable choices for digital interfaces. That's the big part of why most app and website you use default to sans serif type. And that's the anatomy of typeface, the actual vocabulary designers use every single day, whether they realize it or not. Here's the thing though, knowing this term is just step. In this series, we are going deeper into principles of good typography, how to actually pick fonts that works well together, and how to use hierarchy to guide your user eyes exactly where they want to look. If this helped you understand type a little better, drop a like and hit subscribe so you don't miss the rest of the series. See you in the next one. Bye.